honestly am not quite sure what triggered his little meltdown, but apparently he says, I am dying fast, so I got to get my affairs in order. 2 tweets from the leader of the free world about how I am a nobody. I think that's 4 tweets in total. I feel like maybe the opposite might be true.
So Candace Owens just dropped explosive allegations about Laura Loomer's influence over Trump, claiming she's mentally unstable, fabricated her Jewish identity, and has been banned from owning weapons. These aren't just personal attacks. They're national security concerns about who has the president's ear. Let's break down these bombshell claims.
And that right there might be the biggest clue as to why Trump is behaving like he is off the rails, right? It's kind of like you eventually just become the people that you spend your most time with and you spend your most time speaking to, right? You become an average. And so President Trump went from Charlie Kirk, right? Charlie Kirk had his ear to Laura Loomer. And I think you guys need to more fully grasp not just who Laura Loomer is, but what Laura Loomer is.
This advisor dynamic is crucial. Presidential influence historically flows through the people who have daily access. Think Rasputin with the Romanovs, or Steve Bannon's early Trump influence. When someone claims daily contact with the commander-in-chief, their mental state and motivations become matters of national security, not just political gossip.
Her entire identity as being a feisty Jewess is something that she made up around 2019. She told me that she was not Jewish. She told multiple people that she is not Jewish. Her mother is a woman named Joanne Singe. Laura is Irish and English. Obviously, Judaism is matrilineal. She was not raised in temple. She was not bat mitzvah. She just decided that it was politically expedient to pretend that she was Jewish.
Jewish identity fraud is particularly serious in politics because it exploits both religious communities and anti-Semitism for political gain. Matrilineal descent means Jewish identity passes through the mother. If her mother isn't Jewish and she wasn't raised in the faith, this is complete fabrication for political convenience. That's deeply manipulative.
Like I said, people, this person's crazy. She's mentally ill, right? Trump says this. No, Laura is actually forbidden to own weapons. She cannot buy weapons. She cannot own them because she was placed on 2 involuntary psychiatric holds by her own father, who allegedly is very fearful of her because she has had multiple suicide attempts. She attempted recently to file an appeal with the FBI to reverse the banning on her owning weapons, and they declined to remove it, citing the fact that she had been involuntarily placed on psychiatric holds.
Federal law prohibits gun ownership after involuntary psychiatric holds. It's Form 4473, Question 11F. The FBI declining her appeal means they found credible evidence of ongoing mental health risks. Someone banned from owning firearms having daily access to nuclear codes should alarm everyone, regardless of politics.
And in that piece, he wrote this, quote, Laura Loomer has been diagnosed at various times and by various doctors as suffering from bipolar disorder, histrionic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and narcissistic personality disorder. Loomer's mother, whom we are not naming today, is an alcoholic, a manic depressive, and suffers from bipolar disorder in common with her daughter. Loomer has 2 brothers. One is a violent schizophrenic who is permanently incarcerated in a psychiatric facility. He will never be released. The other also suffers from depression and mood disorders and has been in and out of institutions all his life. Okay, end quote.
These aren't mild conditions. Borderline personality disorder involves extreme emotional instability. Narcissistic personality disorder creates grandiose delusions, and histrionic disorder drives attention-seeking behavior. Combined with family history of violence and schizophrenia, this psychological profile would disqualify someone from basic security clearance, let alone presidential access.
Everyone sees that this is a fatal attraction. In fact, I am told by people in Melania's circle that they believe, like, actually the most likely person to harm Donald Trump would be Laura Loomer. And yet this completely somehow evades the president. He allows her in his circle. The question is why?
When the First Lady's inner circle flags someone as a potential physical threat to the president, that's beyond political rivalry. That's security intelligence. Fatal attraction suggests obsessive, potentially violent behavior. The Secret Service should be briefed on anyone Melania's team considers dangerous to Trump's safety.
But Laura Loomer is also a malignant sexual predator and has been repeatedly accused since the beginning of her career of raping and sexually assaulting men. That is not a typical thing that men come out with, that men come out and say, a woman sexually assaulted me. right?
Male sexual assault victims report at rates 20 times lower than women due to shame and disbelief. When multiple men independently come forward accusing the same woman, that pattern demands serious investigation. Someone with this history having government access violates every security protocol.
Laura Loomer is a sexual predator psychopath. I was, in fact, a victim of her wrath. Loomer and I spent the day with President Trump at Bedminster watching the golf tournament from the president's box. She asked me several times for a selfie. As you can see, that lean line does not lie. She constantly got uncomfortably close to me. She groped me in the parking lot, grabbing my crotch very aggressively and demanding that I come back to her New York City hotel room to engage in some vile, descriptive sexual activities. She's an absolute psychopath who preys on men who she thinks that she can manipulate. She's a menace to society.
This allegedly happened at a presidential golf event, meaning she had VIP access when this occurred. If true, the fact she retained access afterwards suggests either the incident wasn't reported to security, or worse, it was reported and ignored. Either scenario is a massive security failure.
Laura Loomer responded, "Don't pray for your enemies, Benny. Pray for your enemies to be destroyed and celebrate when they struggle. We don't have time for compassion for evil people. Break them down and conquer them with psychological warfare until they beg for mercy. Do not pray for them." This is Laura Loomer's strategy.
This psychological warfare mentality is antithetical to American democratic values. When someone with alleged daily presidential access advocates breaking down political opponents rather than democratic debate, they're pushing authoritarianism. During wartime, this vindictive mindset in leadership circles becomes genuinely dangerous.
Not something anyone would say, right? No dignity in that. Already going through a lot. You don't say someone's making up cancer, but these are the sorts of things that she does. She starts vicious rumors and she leaves it on the person to come up for air and explain that that's not true. And people typically get flustered.
Claiming someone faked cancer is beyond political hardball. It's sociopathic. Casey DeSantis was fighting breast cancer publicly. That Trump's campaign found this useful reveals how morally bankrupt political strategy has become when winning matters more than basic human decency.
Accusing us of being separated like she did this weekend, attacking my children, that was trending. Laura Loomer attacks Candace's children as feud escalates, claiming, as she did today, that my husband got drunk and hit a man in a car while brandishing a gun.
Creating AI deepfakes for political attacks violates federal law under the Deepfakes Accountability Act. Targeting someone's children crosses every moral line in politics. Even opposition researchers avoid family attacks on minors. This behavior pattern shows complete disregard for legal and ethical boundaries.
Tagged them. She attacks people who have nothing to do with anything. Things that most people will not lower themselves to do, she will do. And like she says, she believes that breaks people psychologically. That's her goal. And Trump uses her as a pit bull. And let me tell you, Trump, you will eventually reap what you sow. People that are in your circle that have concerns that this is a fatal attraction should be listened to.
Using someone's mental illness as a political weapon is morally reprehensible and strategically stupid. It creates an unstable, unpredictable attack dog who might eventually turn on you. Leaders who exploit vulnerable people for short-term political gain demonstrate fundamentally corrupt character judgment.
You should look into the reasons why she cannot own a gun. You should speak to your friend Roger Stone about her suicidal attempts and the things that she says and the things that she does and the accounts that she operates behind the scenes. You don't play with fire and expect not to be burned. Now, in regards to me, I can guarantee you I am psychologically stronger than you. I've never had to be placed on a psychological involuntary hold. And I am not going to be intimidated by a Trump family thug who thinks that making up videos and using AI to put out rumors is going to scare me.
Roger Stone's involvement adds another layer. He's been around dirty politics for decades and knows dangerous people when he sees them. The playing with fire warning suggests insiders recognize real risks. Her direct challenge shows she won't be intimidated, even by presidential pressure.
We have a very consistent family life. We really do most of our stuff with the church and with our church friends. And I advise people start living their lives that way so that they have more value, so they don't end up like Laura Loomer in a basement with no friends and family to take them to a basic appointment. So we will not be intimidated. And Trump, if this is the last card that you have, yeah, it's pretty pathetic. That's all I'm going to say about that.
This contrast is telling. Stable families versus basement isolation. When someone has no friends and family willing to help with basic tasks, that's a red flag about their character and mental state. Calling Trump's strategy pathetic is a direct challenge to his strength and competence.
Okay, all the FBI is giving is their summary reports. I, Kash Patel, say that this is the gun. Trust me, bro. Love, Cash App. Okay? Take a listen to Tyler Robinson's defense attorney, Richard Novak, explain that, yeah, they have the summary reports, but we don't have the data, the proof, the chain of custody to show that any of this is real.
Defense attorneys need actual evidence, not FBI summaries, to mount effective cases. The trust me bro approach violates fundamental due process rights. When prosecutors hide evidence while demanding public trials, they're prioritizing political theater over justice. Classic show trial tactics.
I am in contact with many people all throughout the state of Utah, okay? I think they want a show trial. I think Erica's team wants a show trial. They do not want to hand over crucial or critical evidence before the probable cause hearing. Instead, they want to pretend they're being transparent. They want to demand cameras inside of the courtroom and then deliver the show trial or show hearing of the century, right? With the defense completely unable to meaningfully counter anything that they present, right?
Show trials historically meant predetermined outcomes with theatrical presentation. Stalin's purges, Nazi courts. Demanding cameras while hiding evidence creates public spectacle without fair process. When prosecutors care more about media coverage than evidence transparency, justice dies on television.
What they are doing is they are remanding an increasingly plausibly innocent young man, a 22-year-old, to his death, okay? He is facing the death sentence. So you better be pretty sure when you are out here saying that this is his gun and he did it and the evidence is overwhelming that you know what you're talking about, that you are actually involved and reading the documents. What they're saying is they would be comfortable sending this kid to the gallows because, well, they're getting paid to influence people that way.
The death penalty's irreversibility makes evidence transparency absolutely critical. A 22-year-old's life hangs in the balance while paid influencers push guilt narratives without seeing the evidence. Capital punishment requires absolute certainty, not social media speculation.
Take a listen.
Erica Kirk.
It's like Jersey.
Welcome. Look at this crowd.
That's what it's about. That is what it's about. It's about the crowd, okay?
The WWE entrance music comparison is devastating. It reveals pure vanity over substance. When crowd size matters more than message content, that's entertainment, not serious political leadership. Canceling on the vice president for better optics exposes misplaced priorities completely.
She is not favored by the students, okay? Just like she's not favored by the people who work under her. Here's a Newsweek headline. They wrote, Erica Kirk's high school talk sparks furious backlash from parents. That's reality. Here's a Daily Beast. High school moves Erica Kirk event off campus after students revolt. That is reality. Here is the local Arizona Republic. A high school group invited Erica Kirk to campus. Parents are not happy. That is the reality.
When Newsweek and Daily Beast, mainstream outlets, report student revolts against conservative speakers, that's significant. High schoolers are naturally rebellious, but organized parent-student opposition suggests deeper problems with messaging and approach. Even the base audience is rejecting her.
Dare you? That is not going to click with the general public. So yes, you can continue to hide behind Donald Trump, which is going to be her new move. She's going to have to essentially just keep opening up for Donald Trump and people that are bigger than her. I mean, she could open up for Drewski. She could probably open up for Tucker Carlson and there would be a crowd there. But Erica cannot draw a crowd by herself yet.
Charlie Kirk built genuine grassroots engagement through consistent messaging and authentic connection. Destroying that legacy through vanity and poor judgment shows leadership failure. The Trump can't save himself line hits hard. His endorsements can't fix fundamental character and competence problems.